Shapiro drives one in the air. Deep right field. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Way back it might be. It could be. Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs win. Holy cow.
The Dingers podcast is on the air. I'm your host, Mitch. I'm here with Kevin and Jeffrey. How are you guys on this beautiful Thursday after the All-Star break?
I'm not too bad. I wish it was Friday afternoon, not Thursday. I got one more day to go. Dang it.
So today's Thursday, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. I wouldn't know, being a teacher on summer break.
Yeah, sometimes
Every
you just lose
day's a
track of even
Saturday.
days.
Right? July's all Saturdays, though August is coming up, and that's all Sundays. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Jesus.
Wonderful.
Bonehead.
So you're doing great, aren't you, Kevin?
Doing fantastic. Though not necessarily in a bad way. We have a busy weekend coming up. I have 2 kids playing in Iowa games for soccer. So we have 6 games across 3 days over names.
So you're not going to be at the gym on Saturday?
I'm not in the gym on Saturday anyway, so.
Yeah. Kevin's really been lacking on his health and wellness. I think people should encourage him to
It's true.
focus
I've
on
been
that.
skipping. I've been choosing sleep over time with Jeff, and he's getting upset about it. Mitch, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Took the family to Field of Dreams yesterday. Felt like, All-Star break, you need to go and take in the festivities at the Field of Dreams, and so took the family there. It was good. Get to play some ball on the Field of Dreams. One of my buddies and his family was there as well, so we kind of took a little infield, hit some BP. It was a good old time at the Field of Dreams. Dyersville is a beautiful town. I don't know if anybody's ever taken the trip or the voyage to Dyersville, but it's a cool little town. It's got a sweet bar called Textile Brewing Company. So shout out to them. They make some of the best soft pretzels ever. Ooh. And they had this bacon pretzel, and they're the size of a good dishware plate, these pretzels. And it was bacon on top, but then it was drizzled in maple syrup on top of the pretzel. And then with these the seasoning. Oh man, it was good. It was so good. We ordered that one, a pizza pretzel, an original pretzel, and we had a lot left over. And so I get home today, and I'm all excited to eat my pretzel.
Gone.
And my wife and kids ate it last night when they got home. I went and did something else, and they finished it off. And I didn't even get to finishing. I enjoyed it while I was there, but kind of sad news there for me. On that, but
typical.
Yeah, feeling good. It's the All-Star break. I didn't watch much of the All-Star game. I did watch a lot of the Home Run Derby. Love Home Run Derby. Watched a lot of that. Kids enjoyed that, but let's do hot or not on Cubs first half. Okay, we've done this before with players, but let's try to encompass the whole first half and do hot or not.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with starting pitching. Hot or not? Were they hot in the first, or were they not? Kevin.
So hot. So hot. Kind of the only little preview. So hot. They were fantastic.
I don't.
Jeffrey?
That's not very convincing, Kevin. That actually sucked. Anyway, I say hot. With portions of that first half of the season was pieced together due to injuries, and they did a pretty phenomenal job with what they had going into every series.
Yeah, you have to go hot. When you have Shota Imanaga probably going to win the Rookie of the Year over Paul Skeens. Just going to call it. Just going to say it right now. Probably not going to happen, but I'll make that call that with Shota pitching the way he has, Jameson Tyone, we're getting the pitcher that we thought we were getting last year, this year, which he has been absolutely dominant his last few outings. and you have Justin Steele, who only has 1 win or 2 wins to his name, but he has one of the lowest ERAs in baseball. The Cubs, as a pitching staff, their ERA is 4th or 5th in all of baseball when it comes to starting pitching. A lot of bright side when it comes to the starting pitching. And we've kind of, like you said, had to piece it together. We don't have Jordan Wicks right now. We haven't had Ben Brown for a while. And those are both starters. We didn't have Justin Steele for a good portion of the first half of the season. And so, yeah, like to have those things, and even Jameson Tyone didn't start with the club. He was injured with his back at the beginning of the season. So like to piece that all together and to still be one of the better rotations kind of shows what we talked about, that we do have depth when it comes to starting pitching. And so, yeah, we're going to be tested again in the second half because we can't be throwing Hayden Wesneski out there anymore. We're going to have to be figuring it out when it comes to that, which I think he's going to slide into the pen. And I think we're going to have another call-up that will help our pen even more with Merriweather. I think he's going to be ready to start the second half. So good things are coming. So since I brought up the bullpen, hot or not, the bullpen first half.
If you're comparing them to a dumpster fire, hot.
Yeah.
Been pretty awful. Pretty inconsistent. Just atrocious.
Yeah, I'd say so not. Every time Hector Neris goes in there in the 9th, unless we've got a 9-run lead, I don't think it's safe. There have been some bright spots that have been awesome, but unfortunately, with all the injuries to the starters, a lot of those bright spots had to go start games. But
or they got injured themselves, like Luke Little. Like he was a bright spot. Now he's injured, and so it's like, oh, we can't catch a break. But yeah, I would say not that. And I thought at the beginning of the season that would be something that, like, I didn't think that the bullpen would be this big of an issue. But when you have Alzolay get injured and one not performing, you had Hector Neris not perform like I expected. I expected a lot better out of Hector Neris. And then you had Merriweather with an injury. You had all these injuries in the bullpen. They had to have guys move around and try to fill in and be something that they're not. A lot of them kind of get put in innings and in situations that don't really benefit them. And so, yeah, that hurt the overall bullpen. But I will say this, because we're getting Merriweather back, Alzolay is going to be soon, I think, not too far behind him. And we have Biggie, who I know got sent back down to the minors. He could be coming back up to fill a role. I could see this bullpen piecing itself together and being really good the second half. And so I'm banking and hoping on that, but I could see them being a possible strength the second half.
So what have we lost? Like 28 one-run games in the first half?
Feels like it. It feels like it. That's what is that Tominatu? I don't know. Somebody in the comments brought up Tyson Miller. Fantastic.
Tyson Miller was a great pickup. That and he's pitched a lot. And I was afraid that he was going to be the Quas of this year, that he was just going to get overused, but haven't seen that. But he's been absolutely phenomenal. So like, and we just made a pickup with the Royals for cash considerations. Now I don't know how well that is, and I think we picked up another guy too as well, a bullpen guy today. So still making moves. We'll talk about trade possibilities here in a little bit. We'll get to that, but hot or not, the offense.
So not.
What a disappointment.
Right. And we've talked about like last season were so many like bright stars of folks overproducing almost their numbers. And unfortunately they've regressed way under their numbers. Though there have been some bright spots lately. Hap's hitting really well. Say's starting to turn it on. But offense overall, so not.
Yeah, I kind of picture it thinking in Jeffrey's mind that Jeffrey has this girl that he's interested in junior high, and she's pretty, and you're expecting her to really hit her stride in high school,
Pretty crazy.
and she just didn't turn into the hot girl that you thought she was. That was the Cubs this year. They showed some promise last year. They're like, oh man, this offense can click. We got Cody Bellinger back. Like, let's go. And it just,
it hasn't panned
they decided not to wear makeup, and
sweatpants
they didn't quite
that say juicy on the ass that are just terrible.
yeah. They just, they're not even trying. They're not even trying to be pretty. But yeah,
I think all of us, there are a lot of us, I think, had super high expectations with the Cubs picking up Craig Counsell as the manager.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can only manage so well if nobody's performing and nobody's given 100% effort. You can only do so much with lollygaggers.
I wouldn't say that. They're trying. I think I'll kind of put it a little. We know that they're trying. It's not like they want to lose games. My big thing is when the injuries happen at the beginning of the season, that's where you bring up Craig Counsell of the coaching to coach them through those struggles, and to have the offense struggle over there for 2 straight months. That's what's concerning. But we did see some things kind of turning around. Hap has really turned it around. Seiya, after coming back from injury, it took him a little bit, but now he's getting back in stride, just getting an RBI every single game, it seems like. Dansby Swanson has been absolutely garbage, but I will say the last week, and I was going to start with this. I think the last time you two were on our podcast, the Cubs were garbage. So
Just state trash.
So they're not anymore. Things have changed.
I'll tell you what, here's the turnaround. I hadn't watched a Cubs game in a very long time, like weeks. And then I happened to turn on a game when Jameson was pitching, and we ended up winning pretty big.
So you're the reason that we turned it around?
I've been watching, trying to catch at least 5 to 6 innings on the weekends. And they've been pretty decent. Was anybody pumped when PCA had a multi-home run game?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
How
awesome.
crazy is that? I mean, especially since everybody's on him about his bat and how his offense just ain't there, but he's young.
But you've been listening to the game, right? Listening to all the games?
No.
Oh, Jesus.
I totally disconnected. I tell you what, when I was a kid, when I texted in the text group that I was super into a show with dragons, I started watching Game of Thrones.
I mean, that's how bad this offense was. Like, there was a lot of people, and even like I had this conversation with Jake a couple weeks ago, like, being as a diehard Cubs fan as I am, and I've watched every inning of Cubs baseball for the last 8 years, like especially the last couple of years since we've started the podcast, like every single inning I'm watching everything or listening to. It was really hard there for the stretch, and it was largely because of the offense was so boring, and we had the expectations, and it was just so difficult to put yourself through that when they're like, I have time with kids or other things that are sometimes that are more important than that. And if you put these expectations, you need to meet them. And so that's where you say tuning into games was the key to the turnaround. I'm going to say that it was my local grocery store that made a huge difference. So this is year 2. This is year 2 of this. Last year, come July, our local grocery store, they're called Quillen's grocery store. I don't know how big they are. Started selling Cubs peanuts, like that you would get at a game, like that comes in a Cubs package, Cubs peanuts. And so we would buy Cubs peanuts, and that's last year when they started the turnaround. Again, this year, they didn't sell Cubs peanuts, and now they started selling Cubs peanuts a couple weeks ago, and now they started turning around. I will say this. I also blame them for why we didn't make the playoffs last year, because guess what happened?
They ran out of
Stop
peanuts.
selling them.
They ran out of Cubs peanuts. But guess what my wife showed up to our house with?
If it was
The last
White
week,
Sox,
the last week of the season, White Sox peanuts.
no way.
Toss her out.
I said, get that crap out of here. Why would you even think about doing this right now?
Did you make her sleep in the barn?
The Cubs need you, and you are. Oh,
Just
She
so
tried to
I-
say something like the peanuts on the inside are the same because they're not the same.
They're not.
They're
the
not
same.
the same.
So I blame her. So one, I know the owner of Quillen's. I'm gonna have a talk with him this week saying, hey, you need to keep that Cubs peanuts coming. You have to. They need it. It's the fuel for their success. So just saying. Cubs peanuts. Get
You know,
them
if
at your
you
local
say
Quillen's.
that fast enough, it sounds like you're saying something else, Mitch.
Cubs peanuts.
Yeah. You got it.
Got a little Miles Mastrobuti going right up here. Did you see when was it at St. Louis? Every time Mastrobuti made a defensive play, the organist there would play a little bit of I touch myself.
Yeah. What a bullshit move.
I
Who
actually
thought?
like it.
Did anybody think Miles Mastrobuoni would be the defensive replacement at third base that would spark better defensive play?
No, not at all. That's
I
what,
really totally
somebody
forgot
in
he
the
was
chat
on
brought that up too.
And he's had a bat. Like
Yeah.
he brought his bat back from Iowa.
I really, I kind of totally forgot that he was even still on the roster.
Right?
Well, he wasn't. He was down with Iowa for a while, and
Well,
then they
right.
brought him back up. Yeah, like we can get into a little bit of the turnaround. What needs to happen for us, one, to stay hot, and for us to really make this push this next 20 games or 10 games before the trade deadline? What needs to happen? What do you guys think? Like, is there a key player that needs to get hot? Who needs to carry us? What needs to happen?
Bullpen's got to be more consistent, first and foremost. I think the starting pitching just needs to keep continuing to showing up and do what they've been doing. Offensively, there's not one bat in our lineup that's going to carry this team, so it's got to be done by a committee. Everybody's got to do something, whether that's laying down sac flies, sac bunts, just playing small ball. I think those are the keys.
I don't know if you caught this, but Carter Hawkins, the Cubs, Carter Hawkins is in our chat right now. And I will say this. He said, the lineup doesn't have a star. I mean, Suzuki got crazy hot last year in the second half, but we don't have an MVP bat to build their offense around. Carter, go back and listen to our episode two weeks ago when Ian and I broke down the Cubs are a bunch of C-list Hollywood stars and that we don't have any A-listers to speak of. We couldn't make a Marvel movie to save our lives, or it would be a really trash Marvel movie. It'd be like the Marvel movies that they tried to make before they made the good ones. That's what type of Marvel movie that the Cubs would be. And you're right. We don't have a star. But we do have enough when you look at the rest of this NL to make the playoffs. I'll say that.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, as terrible as Cubs have been, they're 3.5 games out of the wild card or something.
Yeah.
Like it's not beyond the realm for them to make a push and get in. For me, the second half, the offense has got to take off. Michael Busch has that. Is it on base streak? Is that?
Yeah.
Like he's got to keep going. Hap's got to keep going. I think, we brought in Dansby to be the star, to be kind of the captain of the team. And he was last year. I mean, he talked about talking to the front office saying, no, don't sell. buy in. I think he needs to put the team on his back a little bit and start hitting, because his hitting has been terrible. Terrible.
Did you guys see the graphic that compared his offense to Jason Hayward's offense?
Yep.
Oh yeah,
I cried.
He's been.
I
just
literally
as bad.
cried.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I don't know. I think if he settles out, if he gets back to his average, normal average, the team just will start to click a little bit better.
For me, I'm going to kind of echo what you said, Kevin. So we've had Hap starting to get hot, or is hot. We've had Saya start to get hot. Nico has kind of found his stroke very quietly the last 10 games, put in lot balls in play, kind of doing what he did a lot last year, shooting that gap, low line drives, which, hey, that's better than what he was just beating into the ground. And so he's kind of found his stroke. Michael Bush has been the dude that Jed and Carter thought they were getting. He's exceeded expectations. Like that dude is, I'm thrilled to have him in a Cubs uniform the next however long. Like it's great to have that type of bat in the order. I think he was like the 8th best hitter in all of baseball with all of his stats. He started getting it going. And so for me, it has to be Dansby and Cody Bellinger. I know he's injured, but Cody Bellinger or PCA. We need 2 of those 3, or those positions, whoever's playing those positions, 2 of those 3 to get it going. I'm done with expectations of any offense coming out of our catcher's position, unless we call up Boisteros. Like that's where I'm at. Cause I'm not going to give him much. I'm just going to expect an 0 for 4 every time. Like it is what it is at this point, but we do need 2 of the 3 other positions that we need to be getting some offense out of. That needs to happen. Along with our bullpen needs to be nails. It needs to be locked down, because we talk about all the 1-run games that we've had this year. I think there's gonna be a lot more of those coming. The one benefit that the Cubs have is they have the easiest schedule in all of baseball the second half.
That doesn't okay. That really doesn't give me high hopes either. When you can go to Baltimore and sweep the best offense in the major leagues, and then you go to St. Louis and you lose a game in the 9th.
That St. Louis series splitting that I was totally fine. Like, because going into that 7-game set with the Orioles in St. Louis, I was like, to walk away with 5 wins, you would be totally happy. It just stinks that you started out 3-0. You wanted to get more, but even St. Louis has been a hot baseball team as well. And so,
yeah, but I really wanted to step on their throats.
I did too. But when you look, okay, so we have the D-backs and then we have the Brewers all at home coming off this All-Star break. The Diamondbacks are not a good baseball team. And then we have KC and then the Reds. We have to come out hot. Yeah, I know we have who's pitching for us on. Have they Steele is going to start game 1 tomorrow. Steele, then Hendricks, and then Imanaga. So 2 of 3. If we could take 2 of 3, win the first series, and then go and take 2 of 3 from the Brewers, that's my thing. The rest of the season, it's all 3-game sets. Take 2 of 3 from every single one. 2 of 3, 2 of 3, 2 of 3. Win series. The only teams that I am scared about, or the only teams that are legit really good the rest of the season, is the Brewers. We play a 3-game set, and we play a 3-game set with the Dodgers and the Yankees. the Dodgers and Yankees are back to back in September, the 6th through the 11th. But every other team, I guess the Phillies we do in late September. But every other team, but they're probably already clinched the division. They're going to be playing their scrubs. Every other team is not a good baseball team. Every other team is a team that I should expect us to win 3 of 4 or 2 of 3.
Nice. I'll take it.
Look at their schedule. Like it should make you feel good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I get it. We do have a very easy schedule. We should come out hot, but I found if you don't have any expectations, it's very hard to be disappointed. I'm gonna tune into games this weekend, and I'm gonna watch, and let's see what kind of team comes back from the break.
They should be coming back fired up.
They should be. I mean, they should be well rested. Did any of you guys, like back in 2016 when we sent our entire first through third to the All-Star game, did you think that was going to be bad because they didn't get like a break? You know, they had to play a little bit more instead of like just going home and mentally shutting down.
No, because I'm one, like, the more baseball you play in a row, like, that's better. It's when there's breaks. It's when they're like, because baseball, especially for a long season, you get in those routines. It's when you get out of your routine and then have to try to get back into it. That's what's really hard. So like last year, I remember we got hot about this time last year, and then there was the All-Star break. And I even said, like, I'm nervous about this All-Star break and trying to like pick up where we left off and stay hot.
Somebody in the comments made the same comment a while ago about the timing of the All-Star break was terrible because they were just coming hot. Yeah.
And so I'm a little nervous about that. Like, that's why I like that we have Justin Steele going game 1. That helps.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like, that helps a lot. So we just need to, if our offense can get him a couple runs, then we're golden. Like, I really think he can lock down Arizona's offense. What are your guys' expectations when it comes to trade deadline?
Expectation or hope?
Hope.
It's two different things.
Let's go for hope.
Yep.
Hope
I think somebody in the comments brought it up earlier because I was thinking the same thing. Scrolling. Oh gosh, I lost it. Anyway, I think for me, my hope would be, let's go get a catcher. Let's go get an offensive catcher. Somebody do both. I kept seeing Elias Diaz kind of brought up. And then this other hope for me is a closer. If the bullpen doesn't get locked down over the next 2 weeks, a closer would be. That's what I'm looking at.
What's yours, Jeffrey?
I honestly don't have a lot of faith in Jed that he's going to make a big enough swing by the deadline. And also, I don't really like gambling with like our farm system players who haven't got an opportunity yet. You know, kind of like the situation with DJ Hers. What we got for him isn't really panning out.
Oh, we got Jamer Candelario. It's panning out for the Reds, not for us.
Right. I agree with Kevin. We do need to be better offensively at the catching position. We do need to bolster the back end of the bullpen. Like, it'd be nice if whoever they trotted out there in the 9th wasn't like sweating bullets and shitting tacks. If they were just calm and cool and could just strike people out.
Yeah. For me, it's they need to go get bullpen help. And they need to attack it with sights on 2025. Thinking
right.
that Jake and I, we talked about last week a little bit of like, hey, who are the guys who need to go after? Could we get guys that kind of like the Michael Busch scenario where they're legit major league players, but they're behind guys that just they won't get their shot. There's a couple in Baltimore. Baltimore has a stacked farm system and a really good major league team. Like, could we get a couple guys there? Could we get a third baseman there? Could we get any relief pitchers? I know relief pitchers can be hard to come by. to get a closer like Mason Miller. Yeah, but you're going to be spending a lot in capital from your farm system. I don't know if that's worth it. So I think getting Merriweather back, getting Elsley back, I think within we can fill that with our bullpen. It's getting one guy that maybe does something different in the bullpen. Like last year we got Quas, and it worked last year because he pitched a little bit different. Just it didn't work out this year, but last year he did pitch fairly well, and it was a different look. Could we get a guy like that brings something different to this bullpen? Velocity, it never hurts. Could we get some guys with a velocity? I don't know.
You know, the Yankees are about to get this guy back who throws real funky. Got a real funky sidearm delivery.
Is it close to like a submariner?
Scotty Efros, I think.
Scotty Efros?
Yeah, you know.
You said that guy. But no, I'm sure a lot of people are probably thinking,
good old buddy Scotty Efros.
Why haven't we touched on like trying to get another bat or two? But for the price tag on a bat that's going to really spark this offense, it's going to be pricey.
I think the only spot we could get offense or get a bat is catcher or third. And so that would be the only place that we would look. You're not going to get a bat to take away at bats from the outfield. You're not going to take any from anywhere else unless a guy gets injured in the next 10 days. That's the only thing you'd look for. Somebody brought up about the draft. We'll talk a little bit about the draft next week.
Tune in.
So I liked our picks. I'll say that. I think, but it's draft picks. It's hard to like analyze them, wait to play some minor league baseball, and then we can kind of see where they're at. Like Matt Shaw, like we can have an intelligent conversation about the player of Matt Shaw now that he's played some minor league. It's really hard to have those intelligent conversations about players when we don't know how they played at all in professional baseball, unless it is a Paul Skeens and you've seen what he's done. Like that dude is just crazy. So yeah, but we will talk some draft at a different time. All right. Well, we wanted to keep this episode short and sweet. There's our expectations. Are you guys ready to be heard again?
Yep.
No.
I'm bought in. I'm so ready. I'm all in.
See, for me, it's like I still enjoyed the run last year enough, even though it sucked at the end. I enjoyed it enough to want to experience it again, because I'd much rather have my summer be filled with Cubs baseball that is fighting for a playoff spot than the WNBA, but one that's fighting for a playoff spot over a sell-off watching meaningless games. So I would rather have like a fight and meaningful games to be able to watch in my August, September than like cashing out like, oh no, we're done. Like, so that's where I'm at. I'm ready to be heard again. I'm ready to not make the playoffs by one game again, if it has to be. Like, I want them to make the playoffs. Let's shoot for that. But yeah. All right. Thanks for listening.
Just real quick, Mitch.
Yeah.
To the new guys in the chat that I know one of you said something about, I can't believe I've never found this podcast yet or before. We typically record on Monday nights.
Yep.
Yeah. True.
So pay attention to our Twitter for the updates of when we're going to do a live stream. Appreciate you commenting and giving us a listen tonight.
Yeah.
I agree.
Make sure that you're following On Tap Sports Network. Go to ontapsportsnetwork.com where you can get great articles on all your favorite Chicago sports teams from the Cubs, the White Sox, the Bulls. The Bulls had a good draft. They got Giddy. I'm giddy about Giddy. Bears are about ready to kick off. Go check out ontapsportsnetwork.com where there's some great articles being written, up to date. And make sure you're following the On Tap Sports Network YouTube channel. That's where we'll be streaming, as well as On Tap Sports Network Twitter, and the Cubs on Tap guys over there, our buddies who do podcasts about the Cubs with us. So a lot of great stuff coming from Cubs or from On Tap Sports Network. So make sure you're checking it all out. Thanks for listening, and ready to be heard again. And go Cubs.
Cubs, Cubs.